Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Mohamad Amyrul bin Muhammad Shuhairi. My metric number is 054-988. So, what is discourse analysis research? First, let's start with the word discourse. In its simplest form, discourse is verbal or written communication between people that goes beyond a single sentence. So, importantly, discourse is more than just a language. The term language here can include all forms of linguistic and symbolic units, even things such as road signs. And language studies can focus on the individual meaning of words. So discourse goes beyond this and looks at the overall meaning conveyed by language and context. And context here refer to the social, cultural, political, and historical background of the discourse. And it is important to take this into account to understand underlying meaning expressed through language. Now that I have explained what discourse is, we will get back to the question. Discourse analysis is a research method for studying written or spoken language in relation to its social context. It aims to understand how language is used in real life situations. Moving on to the second slide, discourse analysis research focuses on four aspects. The first one is the purposes and effects of different types of language. This means that people can use code switching in the middle of conversations to get a different effects or perhaps different reactions from the hearers. Secondly, cultural rules and conventions in communication. In certain cultures, as we know, some words that are normal to others are considered a taboo and cannot be used normally. Thirdly, how values, beliefs, and assumptions are communicated. In other words, the ways of how people convey their message should be analyzed deeply. Lastly, how language use relates to its social, political, and historical context. Just like I have mentioned before, by understanding the context of a discourse, we will be able to find and determine the underlying meanings that were meant to be expressed. Moving on, there are three types of materials that discourse analysis research focuses on. The first one is written media. So, in written media, there are books, newspaper, and periodicals, marketing materials such as brochures and advertisements, and also business and government documents. The second one is digital media. So, in digital media, there are websites, forums, social media posts, and comments. And lastly, audio and video. So this one consists of interviews and conversations recording. For this slide, I'll be focusing on what is analyzed in discourse analysis research. The first one is vocabulary. In this part, words and phrases can be analyzed for ideological associations, formality, euphemistic, and metaphorical content. Secondly, grammar. For this, the way sentences are constructed, for example, verb tenses, active or passive construction, and the use of imperatives and questions, can reveal aspects of intended meaning. Thirdly, structure. The structure of a text can be analyzed for how it creates emphasis or builds a narrative. Fourth, genre. Text can be analyzed in relation to the conventions and communicative aims of the genre, for example, political speeches or tabloid newspaper articles. Fifth, nonverbal communication. Nonverbal aspects of speech, such as tone of voice, pauses, gestures, and sounds like or can reveal aspects of a speaker's intention, attitudes, and even emotions. Lastly, six, conversational codes. The interaction between people in conversation, such as turn taking, interruptions, and listener response, can reveal aspects of cultural conventions and also social roles.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Atiqah Binti Anwar, matrix number is 055483. And today I will discuss types of discourse analysis. Discourse analysis has several types, but I will only explain three of them, which are conversation analysis, pragmatics, and critical discourse analysis. So, what is conversation analysis, or CA for short? CA is an approach to social research that investigates the sequential organization of thought to access participants' natural forms of social interaction. One way to know if it's CA or not is that researchers will record natural interactions as they unfold in real time as data. Usually, they will use video, audio recorder, or anything of that sort. After that, recordings are transcribed in close detail to allow for fine-grained analysis of the design, exchange, and coordination of actions within social interaction. Even though practitioners mainly focus on the investigation of everyday conversation, CA has in fact been applied to a wide variety of different forms of talk. CA can range from ordinary telephone conversations to consultation in doctor's surgery, from family dinner time talk to communication between airline pilots and ground crew, from job interviews to television interviews with celebrities or politicians to speeches at political rallies. Conversation analysts use the term speech exchange system in which two or more participants exchange turns to talk for whatever purpose. Their conversation then will be analyzed to reveal significant detail about the organization of social life and institutions. Because of that, conversation analysts prefer to call their object of study talk in interaction. Next up is pragmatics. Karim believes that pragmatics and discourse analysis have much in common because both investigate context, text, and function. Both fields concentrate on the significance of words in communication and how people convey more than their words. Additionally, both study discourse and text focusing on how pieces of language become significant and integrated for their users. Furthermore, the two fields are interested in function. Nevertheless, pragmatics exerts more effort in identifying the speaker's intention. It is assumed that several discourse analysis approaches are pragmatic because they are more concerned with interactional issues. According to Yule, pragmatics is interested in analyzing meaning as expressed via a speaker and understood via a listener. Hence, we can conclude that pragmatic analysis is concerned with what people convey through certain utterances. The last type that I will explain is critical discourse analysis. According to Crystal, critical discourse analysis or CDA refers to an approach investigating the relation between discursive events and socio-political and cultural elements, particularly about which discourse is ideologically affected by power and ties in society. CDA focus on how linguistic formulas are utilized in heterogeneous expressions and manipulations of power. Power is shown in text and through the speaker's dominance of a social event using the sort of text selected. Widowson suggests that this approach to discourse is important because it questions the legitimacy of some ideas and presumptions that have been taken for granted. It will wake people up and make them more aware of fighting the system that constantly discriminates and mistreats people via privileging the elite and the powerful. Hence, the analyst's job is to explore hints of ideologies and prejudice in text. That is all from me. I will now pass the presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mohamad Irsyaduddin bin Zulkifli. My metric number is 057066 and I'm from band 6A. Today, I'm going to talk about how the procedures of doing discourse analysis research. There are 4 procedures that can be followed to do discourse analysis research. First of all, you must define the research question and select the content of analysis. You need to state your research question clearly and find the needed materials to answer your research question based on your studies. The second procedure is analyze the content for themes and patterns. When the materials needed for your study is acquired, you are advised to groups all the information gathered based on their themes and patterns in order to answer your research questions correct and accurate. Next, you need to gather information and theory on the context. You need to study and identify the historical and social context of the information that you have. You can do a theoretical analysis and do a literature study based on your findings to help you guide your research discourse analysis. Last but not least, when all is in together, you need to review your results and draw conclusions. Based on the language that you use and the meaning behind it, you need to identify is the language are answering all the research questions that is created at the first place. If not, you need to review it back and find the flaws behind it. And if it's yes, then you are good to go with your research paper. I think that is all for my part. Thank you. Please proceed the next presenter. The floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Mohamad Syahmi bin Halil Sharizam. And firstly, I will explain the challenges of discourse analysis research. One of the challenges of discourse analysis research is different approaches to discourse analysis. You must be wondering why. Well, there are multiple approaches for discourse analysis, as it is actually a general term for describing all the approaches used to examine and also understand discourses in relation to social interaction. Earlier in the presentation, we've presented you three types of discourse analysis research, which are conversation analysis, pragmatics, and also critical discourse analysis. And this is only three out of the many approaches that is actually available for discourse analysis. I must say that before choosing the most suitable approaches, it is best for us to have a set of clearly defined research questions. I repeat, it is important for us to have a set of clearly defined research questions to guide your analysis, or else you will end up in a dead end due to the vagueness of your research question. Second, it can be highly time-consuming. Why would you ask? Well, there are multiple ways on gathering information for a discourse analysis research, but the type of data you collect will largely depend on your research questions. This is why I highly stress out that discourse analysis research can be highly time-consuming, because you want to ensure that you're not wasting time on gathering information that does not directly pertain to your research question, thus giving us the reason why we need to have a clearly defined research question. Not only that, even the procedures are quite daunting, as you are required to analyze the content with scrutiny. Moving on, an example of linguistic study that utilized this research design. In this linguistic study, we've picked examples of critical coaching and analysis of conversation between cooperating and pre-service teachers by Charles L. Land. Based on the abstract, this study explores how cooperating teachers may bring a critical understanding to mentoring work during a critical conversation between cooperating teachers and also pre-service teachers. The cooperative teachers use the questions: what are these stacks telling us about issues of language, power, and social justice? And how are we better understanding the everyday language practices of our students and to ourselves? To guide the discussion. From here, we can say that the cooperative teachers in this course collected and analyzed language samples from their classrooms using critical discourse analysis, narrative, and multimodal analysis method. As I stated before, using critical discourse analysis, which means this linguistic study actually uses one of the discourse analysis research method, which is critical discourse analysis, as a method for them to collect their data sample. Thank you for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions regarding our slides, please feel free to ask us questions. That's all from us. Thank you.